Hi, good evening, everyone from Cybersec Asia, Thailand. And today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Yew Kuann, the Regional Director, PCI Council. Hi, it's always it's like always pleasure to have you and your support. Cecilia, appreciate your time for a quick session of an understanding what things are happening in the payment industry. So I'll start with we recently have got, and I congratulate you for that, the annual report for PCI Council. What are the key takeaways? What you wish to share with our editor so that they take a common ground and then go and read the reports?
Yes. Hello. Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is YK from PCI Council, and I was so happy to see Pulkit and Shailesh, who's managing the camera in the crowd when I was at the panel discussion. So thanks for mentioning the annual report. It's the first time that PCI has put that together. Lots of information on the various things that PCI is up to. So for those of you who are keen to learn more about what the council has been busy with in 2025 and what we are going to be busy with in 2026 and beyond, do go check out the annual report. You can look for it. I think it's on the main homepage as well as in our blog. Okay. Now, in terms of key takeaways, there's so many things, right? The thing that I really think that it should be valuable for companies like Cybercube and who should be of interest to the clients that you support is really PCI's plan, right? Okay. What is the vision that the PCI's leaders have, right? And how they are planning to evolve, right? As you know, payments is a fast changing area, and the standards have to keep up to date as well. And as we go through this path together with stakeholders, our participating organizations, our cybersecurity experts like Cybercube, this is where we get the input. As we continue to evolve the standards, there are some very useful information in the annual report. Okay, or things that where we are right now, where we are going to be in 1-2 years time, the short-term horizon, and we are actually working with our principal POs, our higher tier members, okay, on things even beyond that, right? So 3, 5, 10 years later, how do we continue to make sure our standards will be up to date, they will be relevant, and they are able to protect the payment ecosystem.
So, absolutely. Thanks for this. And yes, I go with you on this. It's a continuous PCI is a standard which is regularly evolved over the years. And leading to that, another evolvement is about the SSF standard 2.0, which has recently been updated.
Sure.
Covering the traditional risks to the now how these risks would be covered. Anything specific so that as a QSA like us who are auditor and the audit is what they shall expect. How this been developed? I know it's a continuous feedback you've taken it from the audit perspective and the auditors. Anything specific you want to highlight we should do?
Well, I think the main takeaway is the standards are never cast in stone. Okay, we really depend on feedback from stakeholders as yourself, because you interact with one of these companies who do adopt the standards as you assess that, right? Threats continue to evolve, software development processes continue to improve, and as we take that into consideration, the team continues to work with our stakeholders and make sure that the standards remain up. Okay, right. Something that I do want to call out is we did a really nice podcast with a gentleman called Mike Thompson. So Mike is the main leader who is championing the software security framework, right? Okay, and this was an interview as part of the launch for secure software standard. Okay, and Mike did share a lot of very useful tidbits, as well as the some of his observations as standards continue to evolve.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
This really helps. And see, there are a lot of things we can discuss we continuously, but I noted down a couple of them because talking about it, this can be a long and with a time constraint like this, very specifically with the continuously involved standards.
Yeah.
Important compliance is important. Security is important. We discussed it before. Business agility. I know flexibility is good, but business agility in terms of with the threats evolving, standards security evolving, how do you think business agility versus the security?
Well, I think it has to be a balance, right? It has to be a balance because the business's main objective is to grow. Right? You need to make profits to continue to grow. And as companies continue to grow, it will be a little foolish if growth is done without considering security. Because ultimately, once the trust has been broken, it will be very costly to rebuild the trust again after that. So it's your product is the reason why the organization is involved in the data breach. The customer's data is impacted. It will be so expensive and it will be so hard to then regain that trust. So I think, it has to be a balance between being agile to keep growing fast and reacting to new threats as payments and technology continue to evolve and improve. But you also have to consider and to take into consideration security early on. Okay. And I think I'm really proud of the standards team for the PCI standards team working together with all of the industry stakeholders to have that balance. Okay. So I know we were discussing this earlier, but it's around, to have that balance, PCI has incorporated a few things, right? One is for companies who are thinking that, maybe certain areas are more constrained, right? There's the requirements, perhaps for legacy reasons, they are not able to implement all of the controls that are required. Okay, that is where there is some flexibility built in, where there are constraints around operational aspects or business aspects. Okay, and that is where companies can discuss with security assessors like yourself on how they can still consider the risks of what they're trying to protect, and to that make sure that the compensating controls are adequately implemented. So I think there is some balance there, and you will know this better than I do. Around 4.0, the PCI also introduced the customized approaches, right? And in this case, it is a different way of evaluating different requirements in PCI DSS, where maybe the requirements doesn't really fit into the organization's setup.
Correct.
Right? And they are able to then define what the requirements should be based on their own unique environment, and of course to define the test cases. Of course, the most important point is it doesn't mean that the requirements are being diluted. Yes, right? They should expect to be challenged by the assessors from Cybercube to make sure that the requirements created through the customized approach is as robust as the detailed defined.
Absolutely. So it's correctly summarized that it's securities for the business only. Right. So for the longer term, it will obviously and being flexible at the same time.
That's to say, that's right.
So leading and probably as of your time constraint, I'll keep it simple. You put bit of advice for the management. Why they should adapt for the PCI DSS standards and how they can start engaging more.
Right. I think there's so much going on at the council, and for companies that need to follow the standards, it is
because they have vested interest to know what is changing, and there are opportunities to also influence and improve the standards, right? Because ultimately, they are the ones who have to implement and put in place the controls that are required. So one of the ways that we do engage with the community is by encouraging these companies that must adopt the standards to come be part of the PCI community and join us as a participating organization. Because there's so many benefits, and to just name a few is the primary one, which is the ability to influence and improve the standards. There are free and discounted trainings that is organized by PCI that the POs or participating organizations can participate in. There are free tickets for our annual conferences that we organize towards the later part of the year. And this year, September will be in Vancouver, October will be in Scotland, and November will be in Kuala Lumpur. Right? And I'm sure you guys will be there to support us as well. But it's such a good opportunity to meet the community, for the leaders to share their thoughts and the latest updates about the evolution of the standards. Okay, and it's just a good chance to have a good time with industry stakeholders and to really air out and discuss about all things PCI or society security requirements.
Absolutely, and it's why this year is special is because this is dynamic, and then feedback is a core part of how this is continuously evolving. Thank you so much, YK, for spending in time.